Welcome back to Rust Order Garage and the $5,000 budget build 56 Chevy truck. Chevy pickup, whatever you want to call it. I am just about done with that truck. I'm just out here looking at Skid Row and then some vehicles I've got sitting outside that may be next in line because a whole bunch of them are going to get worked on, and should be fun. Some of the stuff we got in line here: 48 Oldsmobile, 61 AMC Rambler wagon that I must put hands on because that thing is just too cool. We've got a Silverado donor vehicle. We've got the 41 Buick Fastback. It's like an old-time used car lot. We got the 41 Fastback here. You've got the 39 Oldsmobile, two-door sedan, very cool car. And we have the 55 Chevy four-door sedan that is still filled with 10 pounds of raccoon crap that I still haven't cleaned out. And that's just some of the stuff around. This is the outside stuff. We still got stuff inside to build. But for now, I get back on the truck. Next item on the list for the truck, now that the lights are done, see them there, is a back bumper. I got me a back bumper. I was looking for one for a while and actually picked this one up for 50 bucks. Now, $25 in gas to go get it because it was a ways away, but beggars can't be choosers. I could not find a bumper. It was crazy, and I'm not going to spend $250 for a bumper. So 50 bucks, I'll make it must have been an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't even remember now, drive to go get it. Only problem is I had no bumper brackets. Now the 58 truck, the donor truck that gave up, or 9, I can't remember what year it is, that gave up this bed, I found the inside brackets that bolt to the inside of the bumper. So luckily I had those, so at least I could bolt up the bumper to mock it up, because I have not been able to find outer brackets. I'm not going to buy new ones for $75. It just seems crazy. While it's not, I guess you could say it's not a lot of money, but it's a budget build, and before I ever buy anything, I like to see what I have laying around, as you know for sure. So what do we got? Well, I've got this. I don't know what this is. It's part of a piece of farm equipment. It actually had a wheel bolted to it, and I don't know what it was from, but I found it on my property because my property used to be part of a farm many years ago, and there's still a few things laying around that are left over from those days. And I don't know what it is, but it's got very heavy, flat steel like band iron on it. So I'm going to blow all those rivets off, and I'm hoping with those curves like that, I can cut and weld and make myself a set of outer bumper brackets. All right, there's my two pieces of scrap steel. I took off that farm implement. Don't know what it was, like I said, but I think we can make this work. So I looked at them, and they both are mirror image, a little bit of a curve to them and an angle to them, and I think it'll work. First thing I'm going to do is try to somewhat line a piece up. I am not going to be able to video this because it's just going to be in the way, but what I'm going to do is kind of go by steps. I'll try to video what I can, but obviously this thing does not fit up here. It needs to be bent and turned and whatever, but first thing I'm just doing is getting an idea how long it has to be, and I try to trim it down so I can get more room to work with it. But it is going to have to come at an angle from the bumper over to the frame. Pretty basic shape, but I am going to have to trim this thing down because it's just physically too big. So let me do a little bit of mock-up, and we'll come back on next, I guess, step. Okay, I did not record this because I ran out of acetylene in the middle of doing it. Had to go get some, get it done, and you know, you get it. But anyway, that is the new mount for the outside. Had to heat it, bend it, cut it, weld it, and that looks kind of weird in the video there, but it's actually not bad at all. So that is it for this side. Now I get to copy it for the other side, and I also had to black out the gas tank. On this truck, the rear of the gas tank, if you noticed in the last video with the taillights, was stuck out like a sore thumb. It was very obvious. And I was gonna make kind of like a rear filler panel to go from the back of the bed under the bumper, and I may still do that because these trucks have a huge gap. And the truck's near, so I'm trying to do, but they have a huge gap between the bumper and the back of the truck. So I was thinking about making some filler pieces for that, but for now, I blacked out the tank, and once the license plate's on there, that'll block more of it, and I think it'll be okay. I'll show you once I get this thing down on the ground. And there you can see with the tank blacked out, it pretty much just disappears, which is much better than when it was gray and it kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. But what I was going to do is make a rear tail pan to like fit in here and take up that gap, because that is one thing I don't like about these trucks with the rear bumper. There's a big gap there. So I may still do that, but I don't need to do it right now. I got to make the other bumper bracket for that side on the outside. Try to copy that one. And what's left? License plate light. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use a factory mount or just use light up license plate mounting nuts that have LEDs in them. I've used those before. They work really good. So that will be it if I get that done. So I got to go back to work, and then on the next day off, we will get that last mount made and then start working on the license plate. right, bumper brackets complete. Got my other mirror image crazy looking bracket done for free. So that's cool. It saved me, I don't know what those were, $100 or something, $75? I can't remember now, for a set of brackets aftermarket, no longer needed. Scrap parts for the win again. All right, what's next? Well, the license plate was going to be next. I was just going to use little LED bolts for lights and just bolt the plate right to the truck. However, I don't know, I was looking on eBay at them, and I wasn't going to get one of the factory license plate mounting brackets because it would have been like $50 shipped. And AI, you know, eBay figured out I was looking at them, and one of the vendors sent me an offer for one for like $23. So with shipping and all, I think it ended up being like $35. So for that money, I said, okay, I'll put a factory license plate bracket on it, but I will not have it right today, that's for sure. So next thing on the bed, steps. These were missing from my bed, but I actually found these. I found a guy who had miscellaneous stuff, and these are obviously a little rough for somebody doing a real nice restoration, but for this truck, they're perfect. Even better, only $50 for the pair of them. So I put some black paint underneath and on the brackets, but I have to do a little bit of fender work in order to get these things mounted up. So this is where I have to do repair work. The bottom of the fender, there should be a flat piece here that would bolt to the step along that line there. And rather than just weld a flat piece to this, which is, you know, it may blow through pretty easy, I'm gonna make a 90-degree piece. So I'll have a heavier piece along the inside of the fender that will bend out to a plate that will bolt to the step. Now I have no reference to what this thing should look like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bolt this step right up to the truck, see where it lands in this area, and then build backwards. So first thing, I'll clean this up some so I can weld to it, because I'm gonna make the piece to weld here, and I'll bolt it up and see what we got. All right, so I'm getting the first step bolted up, and I thought there was a little detail here I should mention. If it's not too late when you assemble your bed, this front cross member, you need the holes that go for this bracket toward the cab. If you put your cross member on and the holes are on the wrong side, your steps are not bolting up. It's not funny, but it's something I noticed when I was assembling the bed. I said, hey, I better make sure I got stuff the right way, because I've never put one of these together before, and that could have been a bad thing. So you got those 2 5/16 bolts there. Got some 1/4-inch bolts here holding it up to the bottom of the bed. And then once it's tightened up, we'll start dealing with this area. All right, there is a simple patch set into place. Nothing special, just a couple pieces of scrap metal welded together to make a U patch. And clean it up a little bit. Sit in there like that, and then it'll bolt to the step, and I'll weld it to the fender. Probably put some holes in it to get some plug welds. I don't know, maybe we'll just weld it on the top, and that'll do the trick. I forgot to record this before I put the tire back on, but the patch is all welded up in there, seam sealed. It's got to let it dry, and then that'll get some black paint to seal it up, and now it's 100% attached. So now you could stand on that step and not have it crushed to the floor. Now I got to do the same thing on the other side. All right, it is starting to become spring. Beautiful out today. Still flannel weather, but it's getting there, which means it's almost time to drive this thing. So I got to patch this side is a little worse than the other side. I got to put a patch on the fender there and then put the piece on the bottom. And I think we'll be in good shape. Impossible to video in here, but I'll get this welded in and we'll come back once that is all set. And it's done. Is it beautiful? I think it's beautiful. It's just a patch. These fenders are kind of rough. This one was worse, but it'll do the trick. So that has to set up before I can paint it. I'll let that sit for a while. The fenders actually had some Bondo down in this area too, in the bottoms. That I guess when it was painted, but so I still got some pinholes and stuff in it there that are ugly, but that's okay. I said this thing is not perfect. We'll skim coat that, and it'll be good to go for now. If I decide years down the road I want to replace the fenders or something and really paint the truck, deal with it then. But this will do just fine for a nice fun driver hot rod. We are getting down to the final push. Now that the steps are on and hold weight, no problem. It's all good. The bed needs to be painted and sanded to knock it down and match the cab. Back bumper, same thing, needs paint on it, and then I'm gonna sand it down through the paint in some areas to match the front bumper, which is just flat with some white showing through. Try to make it match. I think I got to order a mirror head because not only is the glass broken, which really doesn't bother me, but it's kind of loose here. So I don't think it's going to work. So the last things to do before I can drive it, I got to put the carpet in, if you call it carpet, this cheap felt stuff I got. Put the seats back in, and that shouldn't be a big deal because all the mounts are already there, so the seats should go in quick. I got some vent glass from it used, so I can put a piece of glass in here because that one was broken. The other side has a glass, cracked, but it'll work for now. I want to put a full glass kit in this thing eventually. And what else we got to do? We're going to do something with that hole. Here's a final look at the bed floor. All good. All right, I think we are doing good. All right, let's update the budget. Since the last time we did the budget, I added the taillights, the rear bumper, and the bed steps. I think that is all. The taillights were $10 at a swap meet, plus some sockets I had here and a couple bulbs. Call it 20 bucks for the pair, both value and cost. The rear bumper was $50. But I had to drive quite a ways to get it, so call it 75 with gas. And then the bed steps were local. Those were 50 bucks. So all total, that's another $145 added to the cost. So adding that in, our truck value was $79.29. Add in the $145, we're at the truck value of $8,074. Out-of-pocket cash was $41.44. Out-of-pocket cash is now $42.89. So still about $700 left, and are we done? We're almost done. I got to order a mirror head. I already counted the cost of the visors and the carpet. It's already in here because of the previous fiasco. So I'm just going to kind of give it a once over. I got to add in the vent window, but that's only like $25. It's a used piece of glass I bought, and I'm not doing the glass kit right now. Eventually I will do a full glass kit and weather stripping, but not yet. We're just going to make this a fun truck to drive and maybe get warm enough to test the air conditioning. So that is where we are on the budget. I think we're gonna make the 5,000, no problem. All right, I'm gonna end this one here because I'm actually trying to keep the videos somewhat, I don't know, subject related. So that was pretty much finishing up the bed, other than the license plate bracket, which will be here probably in a few days. So I think spring is finally here. All that's left, like I said, we'll get that somewhat felt type carpet and get the seats in, and then it's time for the first drive and see how this thing does after all that work, if it goes up and down the road. I just have to do another, a last minute bolt check. I got to put in the lift, put a wrench on everything I can find, make sure nothing obviously is loose, and then we will be running it. So we'll come back, get the carpet done, get the seats done, and hopefully send this thing down the road. It is licensed and insured, so it is ready to go. So we'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following along, and thank you so much for subscribing. We will see you on the next one. Later.